Well, hey guys, back on track in my morning skincare routine. Coming in to wash my face with the Beta Panthenol Repair Cleanser from Some By Me that I reviewed for you guys earlier this week. This has a nice milky, silky consistency to it. It's not a gel. I don't know why they're calling it a gel. It's so hot right now that when you put the faucet on the coldest setting, it comes out lukewarm. And my hair's got stuck on my finger. That's annoying. It does have that rose scent though from the rose water. Coming in with my Timeless Q10. This is a product that has really just surprised me over the year I've been using it. And we are coming in with Isntree Hyaluronic Acid Watery Sun Gel. Took this on my trip and it was a great travel sunscreen, but I'm gonna finish it up soon. Decorate my face like a cupcake. For the entire head and neck, you need a teaspoon. So if you have a bald head, for example, and every morning you're putting your sunscreen on, you need a teaspoon. When we get to the face, it's like roughly anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon. But you wanna make sure you get it on all sun exposed areas too, like, you know, your ears. Now, a lot of people do the finger method. Basically you take from the base of your finger all the way to the tip of 3 fingers, and that should be enough. I don't like doing that because I find it underestimates sunscreens that are thinner consistencies and spread really quickly, end up with less than you should. The finger method works well though if you're using like a cream or a lotion, but some of these thinner gels, I find that they spread so quickly that it's easy to underestimate doing that. But man, this watery sun gel, I love it. I wish this were water resistant. That's my only thing with this. Let me know in the comments if you use this. Korean sunscreens are great. Japanese sunscreens. Speaking of Japanese, this is the other one I've been wearing a lot these days. Can Make. This is a long-standing favorite. And here we are again with the bottom feeder beans. It's time for a refill. I'm doing Grin and Bear It. So recently I shared with you guys about this Haru Haru rice oil that I actually rather enjoyed. I got this in one of the Korean advent calendars from the holiday, but I shared with you guys how I was no longer going to use it because it was beyond the Best Buy opening. I basically I'm not really one to use facial oils personally, but where I find them effective is if you have patches of dry, flaky skin. I find they're helpful for exfoliating the dry, flaky stuff without causing barrier disruption because they just slip between the rough skin and help it to desquamate without scrubbing away at the protective barrier. So, you know, I'd use this off and on for that purpose. It's fine, but because it's now beyond the months of Best Buy use, I said in my recent vlog that I was going to use this for like getting sticky labels out. So a few vlogs back, I shared with you guys how I was loving this candle because it's so pretty, the jar. The candle itself was so-so, but I finished the candle and I got all the wax out, but there was like the little metal disc that it holds the wick down, and that was glued down pretty tenaciously. The glue is very adherent. So I just put a bunch of that oil in here and let it sit, and it helped dissolve that glue and allowed it to lift up easily. The way I get the wax out of old candle jars, by the way, you just pop them in the freezer for like an hour or so, let the wax kind of freeze, and then you just take a old butter knife and it'll break up the wax and pop it out really easily, and then you can just wash these. And I'm gonna use this for like, I don't know, maybe just set it out because it's seriously so pretty. If you do reuse candle jars like I do, I definitely don't recommend putting like food because there could be some candle residua in there. I need to put this maybe in the dishwasher just to make sure to get stuff out. But isn't this pretty, this glass? I just love it. Kind of goes with my pinks, my pampas grass. Yeah, here's the lid. Isn't that pretty? I just think it's so cute. I need to, speaking of getting the sticky label off, I'm trying to decide if I should attempt to remove the label here. It's pretty stuck on there, but I'm not gonna pursue that endeavor today. Speaking of candles, I recently fired up the Tuscany Summer Orchard. I wanted to call that orchid. Did your brain ever read a word but then say something different? For whatever reason, whenever I see orchard, I want to say orchid. Anyway, Summer Orchard. I bought this several months ago thinking it was going to be the perfect summer scent. It's like a very fresh apple peach, and I'm rather enjoying it. Tuscany candle. I get these at Kroger if you're new here. They're seriously the best candles in my humble opinion. They have a lot of great scents and they're relatively affordable, and they often go on sale. Interestingly enough, CVS, I've noticed, carries Tuscany candles. Comment below on if you've seen Tuscany candles in your CVS. I've heard a lot of you guys say that your local Meijer store carries them. We don't have Meijer here, but yeah, highly recommend these. My favorite scent from this company is the lemon sugar cookie. Oh, it's so good. And then the cafe mocha is delicious. But they always come out with the most amazing scents around the holiday, like Christmas time and the fall. Woo! Move over, Bath and Body Works. These are some of my favorites. So one of my little YouTube pain points, if you will, is always microphone things. I always have issues with microphones. I really struggle with getting good audio on my videos. It's just my personal pain point. I've been through many microphones. Some are awful, some are better than the others. And the microphones I'm currently using and I've been using for the past few years are these. And I have a love-hate relationship with them. I hate having to clip them on. I think they look hideous. And you guys don't like it when I hold them. I get a lot of comments saying, please don't do that. But the audio does sound better when I hold them. So to get around that, so that I'm not holding it, because I agree it's distracting, I have made my own little microphone stand where I take this black flower clip. These flower clips, by the way, I love. I take this black flower clip, hopefully this isn't too distracting in the videos, and then I just clip the microphone onto the flower. It does, in my opinion, it sounds a lot better. Now, I've tried it a couple of ways. One way I've tried it, I lower it down to where you can't see it. But another way I've tried it, I raise it a little bit where you can see it floating there. Hopefully that's not too distracting. I do think the audio is much better when it's up, raised, and closer to me. But by and large, the audio, in my opinion, is superior when it is here as opposed to when it's clipped on me. The other issue with it being clipped on me is that my hair might rub up against it and make an annoying sound. Yeah, I have issues with audio. Like, I don't pretend to be any kind of audio expert. But this gadget that I'm clipping it on is what I use if I film a video on my phone. This is just a little tripod. These are pretty inexpensive. You can get them on Amazon. And it expands to, as I throw the clip down, it'll expand to hold your phone, and you can rotate it around so you can do your phone vertical or horizontal if you want, and you can do it like that if you want a kind of an overhead shot. So it's pretty versatile, and it's also Bluetooth enabled, which I haven't enabled. I'm not that high tech, but so the Bluetooth is like a remote. It comes with a little remote. I don't use that. I should, but I don't, because it, you know, it floats around and gets on my nerves. But yeah, it's really handy. Yeah, if you want to take a picture of yourself and you don't want somebody to have to do it for you, tripods are really handy. Yeah, if you want to take a picture of yourself with a tripod on your phone, all you have to do is set the timer to like 10 seconds and run out and, you know, get in the frame and let it take. And that way you don't have to rely on somebody to hold it for you if you don't have anybody around. Or if you want to include other people in your photo of you, then that's another handy way to use it. Well, hey guys, I'm on my way out to run a few errands. I think I'm going to stop by Target. Speaking of which, I'm wearing that bodycon dress. Remember, like several months ago, we went into Target together and I tried on a handful of dresses and I ended up with this turquoise one. It's super comfortable. I wear it a fair amount. So I put that on. It's a great weekend. I don't really feel like putting clothes on, but I need to put clothes on that aren't just pajama sweats type of thing. I have a video on YouTube about how to reapply sunscreen over makeup. I mean, it's a frequently requested topic, asked question. Sunscreen sprays are not a good option for reapplying over makeup, in my opinion, unless you just like the consistency. To apply a spray properly to your face, you actually have to spray it in your hand first and then rub it in. So I don't see that that offers you much. You know, presumably you're choosing a spray because you don't want to have to use your hands. But you do, you know, you do. You have to rub in the sprays, otherwise they're not really offering you much. I don't understand why at this Target people never park next to the shopping cart corral. Like, I always get a spot here. And I don't understand it because there are two types of people in this world. The type of people who put their shopping carts away and the type of people who don't. And of course there are some in-betweens, like people who situationally, you know, I don't know, maybe they have a baby and it's difficult to put the cart away and normally they're a cart putter awayer, or somebody who normally leaves it out, you know, happens to feel generous one day. You get what I'm saying. But for people who don't put the cart away, I think one of the reasons is they don't want to walk to the corral. Like in that case, but this parking space is always open. Well, hey guys, I'm on my way out to run a few errands. I think I'm going to stop by Target. Speaking of which, I'm wearing that bodycon dress. Remember, like several months ago, we went into Target together and I tried on a handful of dresses and I ended up with this turquoise one. It's super comfortable. I wear it a fair amount. So I put that on. It's a great weekend. I don't really feel like putting clothes on, but I need to put clothes on that aren't just pajama sweats type of thing because it's comfortable. And the steam is steaming. Speaking of steam and steaming and heat, I mean, I don't know. So I have a video on YouTube about how to reapply sunscreen over makeup. I mean, it's a frequently requested topic, asked question. It's a challenge, and honestly, while there are tips, strategies, approaches, there's genuinely no good approach. There's genuinely, they all have their limitations, but I will say this, sunscreen sprays are not a good option for reapplying over makeup, in my opinion, unless you just like the consistency. The reason is that to apply a spray properly to your face, you actually have to spray it in your hand first and then rub it in. So I don't see that that offers you much. You know, presumably you're choosing a spray because you don't want to have to use your hands. But you do, you know, you do. You have to rub in the sprays, otherwise they're not really offering you much. Now, some people like to use the powders. I like to use the SPF powders myself, but that's not really actually like giving you a good reapplication. Like, it's not giving you consistent protection. It's just kind of some speckles of SPF. There's going to be holes there, which is okay, you know. I mean, the point of reapplying is to make up for the fact that it rubs off and comes off and it's not, you know, on there permanently. And B, it also makes up for the fact that most people underapply the first time. But it's going to vary situationally too. Like a lot of people wear a full face of makeup and they're indoors most of the day at their job. It's like, do you really need to invest in the sunscreen powder for reapplying when you're honestly not going to be going outdoors that much? Probably not. The main situation where reapplying, in my opinion, is a must. I mean, it's part of the instructions on every sunscreen, is when you are outdoors for a prolonged period of time. Like if you're at the beach. If you're at the beach in a bathing suit, you know, you need to seek shade, be under the umbrella, and all those kind of things, but you're enjoying enjoying the water, you're going in and out, you know, that's really a time where reapplying every 2 hours is like a must. At least every 2 hours, you know, maybe even bumping it up to every hour and a half. That's what I would do. But when we're talking about everyday life, then it's much more situational. So, you know, there's the recommendation, there's the recommendation, and then there's the reality. The recommendation, as it states on the bottle, reapply every 2 hours while you're outdoors. But the reality for some people is, even when they are outdoors, that may not even be a possibility. Like, say for example, you wait tables, and your tables are all outside, and you're spending the majority of your shift outdoors in getting a lot of sun exposure, and you're not going to be able to reapply, regardless of makeup or not. It may be very difficult for you to reapply. You're not going to be able to take a break. You're going to be sweaty, and it's a reality. Like, I imagine that being a situation where it's very difficult, if not impossible, to reapply sunscreen. So my recommendation is, if you're in these situations where you know, hey, I'm going to be out a lot and it's just not going to be feasible for me to reapply, I always suggest starting your day with a full good layer of a SPF, at least 50. Get a good layer on there, and then let it, you know, dry, and then put your makeup on over it. Because the higher you go, the more likely you are to get a good layer of protection on. And sure, it's going to come off to a certain extent, but at least, you know, that's doing a lot. And if you can, you know, wear a hat. But like I said, if you're waiting tables, that's just an example. You know, that's probably not going to be part of your uniform. Speaking of uniform, your uniform may look like something like this. You know, I put sunscreen on before coming out, but I'm not going to be out more than a few minutes, so there's no need for me to reapply sunscreen. But I'm not going to be out for multiple hours. There's no need for me to reapply sunscreen, and I'm going to be indoors a good portion of it. But if your uniform looks something like this, waiting tables, and you are spending the majority of your shift waiting tables outdoors, outdoor seating, well, then, you know, you may want to think about, like, is there going to be a time maybe I should reapply on my break to my arms and legs? Then yeah, definitely. But reapplying to your face can be a lot more challenging, especially if you're wearing a full face of makeup. So all that to say, you know, I come on here and I give the recommendation, right? Reapply every 2 hours. But that can come across as being out of touch with the reality. I want you guys to know I'm not out of touch with reality, in the sense that I realize there are going to be situations on a case-by-case basis where it's just not doable. The other thing, you know, in general, also think about what other sun-protected behaviors can I rein in. Sun-protective clothing, seeking shade, and not staying out too long. That you know, is harder to do when you are in a working situation. Or like maybe you're a model, for example, and you're doing a day out in the sun shooting photographs, and you're not going to have the flexibility of being able to reapply sunscreen. You may not be able to seek shade depending on what they have provided you. I mean, these are realities. But you know, the recommendation is still reapply every 2 hours, but ultimately you just do the best you can, you know. I've got my sunscreen on. I always bring a hat with me everywhere I go, and I try to not stay out too long. But sometimes you just, you know, life happens, and there are, you know, situations where you are going to be out stuck. So better with something than nothing, right? Something for you may be starting the day with a good layer of sunscreen and hoping that most of it stays on, knowing you're going to lose some, but something's better than nothing. Or it may be like, you know, a day where you don't, what am I talking about? I don't know. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Summertime. Man, it's humid out today, that's for sure. Humid, humid, humid. I don't understand why at this Target people never park next to the shopping cart corral. Like, that's always, I always get a spot here. And I don't understand it because there are two types of people in this world. The type of people who put their shopping carts away and the type of people who don't. And of course there are some in-betweens, like people who situationally, you know, I don't know, maybe they have a baby and it's difficult to put the cart away, and normally they're a cart putter awayer, or somebody who normally leaves it out, you know, happens to feel generous one day. You get what I'm saying. But for people who don't put the cart away, I think one of the reasons is they don't want to walk to the corral. But this parking space is always open. Oh, check it out. Olay came out with yet another $30 moisturizer. This one is AHA plus peptide 24, fragrance free. It has lactic acid in it, which is good for hydrating and softening the skin. And it also has niacinamide, good for redness, hyperpigmentation. This would actually be a good option if you have KP on the face. I mean, just based on the ingredients. I don't know really how the consistency is or anything of that sort. And yeah, it's interesting, but for that price point, I mean, I have a video as a side note on how to get rid of KP on the face, and I give options in there as far as skincare. And of course they also have it in a serum version, very similar ingredients, probably more lightweight in consistency. One of you pointed out in my comments section that CeraVe has come out with a new facial cleanser and oil cleanser. So I came over here to see if they have it here. I'm not seeing it. So recently I did a video, it should be up at this point, about little collections of vellus hairs on the nose that a lot of people mistake for blackheads, and I point out that these are actually kind of helpful for just taking them out in one fell swoop, although they can be irritating. It looks like Up and Up has a version for less. You get 14 here versus 8. What's in the T-zone? The T-zone targeted. Oh, these are just, look at that little chin one. Interesante. The scented body care product that has me in a chokehold is this watermelon moisturizing shave oil I currently am using. It is so nice. I wonder what the Tropic Glow scent is like. But as a side note, I'm also really loving the Dollar Tree shave lotion. That's like a Dollar Tree version of an EOS shave lotion. So that is good. But yeah, this is a pleasant experience, I will say. Oh, all right, I'm back. Man, is it Steam City out. Target was super busy. I didn't end up staying in there very long, and I did not find that CeraVe cleansing oil, oil cleanser, whatever it's called. So I may just order it from Amazon to check it out for you guys, see what it's like. If I can't find it in store. I'm tempted to go make myself one of my lemonade refreshers with the Italian volcano. Speaking of my lemonade, have you guys seen all over TikTok people making these flavored water recipes? They call them water recipes, but I don't know. I feel like once you get to a certain point of adding stuff to your water, it's a drink. Like I saw this one woman make, she put like a tropical flavored water enhancer in, and then she put a can of pineapple, like a little can of pineapple juice to drink in the water, and then she put creamer, and she was like, this water is so good. I'm like, that's a drink, right? I mean, whatever. To each their own, but I think that's a drink. I think that's a drink. I think that's a beverage. It's not water, right? Once you add a can of juice to water, yeah. Like, there's water in my sunscreen, but I'm not gonna call it water. And I'm certainly not gonna drink it. Well, hey guys, I just hopped out of the shower, and while I was in there, I got to thinking, you know, I'm still using that Dove Derma Series anti-dandruff shampoo. When did I buy that? Was it like several months ago? And I am still using it and have not made a dent. And I attribute it to this bad boy, the little Hita scalp shampoo brush. This thing I've had now going on a year. I got it on the Amazonian. It helps you use much less shampoo. It will open your eyes as to the fact that you likely, if you're like me, have been wasting shampoo all of these years. And that's important for a few reasons. First of all, you know, cost cuts down on wasting shampoo. You don't need that much. This helps distribute it nicely all over the scalp in a nice lather while also massaging, lifting up any buildup that you have. But the other thing that's nice about this guiding you to use much less shampoo is that for a lot of people, myself included, when I use too much shampoo and, you know, I don't want to stay all night in there rinsing it out, I get lazy, I get in a hurry, I don't end up rinsing it out entirely. The following day, my hair looks, you know, like you can tell, it's just not as shiny, lustrous, not to mention that leaves a residue on your scalp that can contribute to scalp itch. If you have atopic dermatitis like myself, it can lead to flares of eczema in your scalp. I mean, it can really set off a cascade of problems for you. And if you're like me and you live somewhere with hard water, the hard water interacts with the detergents in the shampoo, the surfactant ingredients, and it creates like a film that's pretty irritating and disruptive to the skin barrier, further aggravating your scalp, and also can cause problems for your hair too, lead to buildup on the hair strands right by the scalp. So this little tool, I mean, it's the most inexpensive thing. There are a ton of brands that make these, but I have to tell you, the reason I like this one so much is the shape of the little fingers is such that some of them are too pointy. I don't have the most sensitive scalp, but some of them are just like a little too, like, okay, I don't care for that. They're not like too aggressive, and there's some cylindrical blunt tip ones with like little, I don't know if you can see that, little fingers, so it's much better. All right, y'all, man, I blabbed a lot about a whole lot of nothing probably. I'm gonna wrap this video up here. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. If you like this vlog, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.